Hey, everybody. Welcome back to day 3 of Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Oceanside. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Master Spas, deboer, wetsuits, Quintana Roo, and, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Mr. Colin Szuch, who, like so many of our other athletes, you got into the sport really, really early. How young were you?
I was 6.
What?
Yeah.
Is that child abuse? Were your parents, forcing you to do this stuff?
No. I was quite a competitive kid, and so was my sister. And
yes.
They did triathlons, and there was always an Iron Kids.
So you did Iron Kids?
Yeah, I did.
Wow. Then what years are we talking?
Let's see, probably 2010.
Okay. That is very. And then did you qualify for nationals, or did they even have that then?
They did. I think I went 1 year to Des Moines.
Des Moines. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to do the commentating for the Rainbow Colonial Iron Kids Bread National Championship. I remember that. I was like, Mark Spitz was my co-host, and that was so, because you had kids with tassels on the handlebars, and then other people with drop frame bikes and disc wheels.
Yeah.
You had all this variety. So from there, you get into did you start thinking about, as you got older, okay, I want to go to the Olympics for triathlon? What was next for you?
Yeah, I mean, as a family, we're always pretty active, and we enjoy just running and biking, and it was always just for the love of it.
Yeah.
And my mom threw me in swim lessons. I was on a cycling team, mountain bike team, the running team, and I never really put them quite together, but I always had everything was going on at the same time.
Yeah. And so then mountain biking, and then XTERRA.
Yes. And I started professionally with XTERRA just because the local races were, there was XTERRA Beaver Creek.
Right.
And there was a pro field, and I wasn't a professional yet, but I wanted to see how I could compete against them. And I only had a mountain bike at the time.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting 5th, and I was like, okay, maybe I had a chance.
Wait, among the pros?
Yes.
And how old were you?
I think I was 18 or 19.
I was going to say, because at 20, did you move to Girona?
I did.
And start... I mean, being a young kid, moving to did you speak Italian?
No. My Spanish wasn't quite where it needed to be. I didn't pay attention in high school, but I learned a little bit. Yeah,
yes.
While I was there. Yeah.
Wow, good for you, man. That's so. But a lot of times, people. I remember back in the day, if you wanted to make a living in track and field or in triathlon, all the real races were in Europe. So people had to learn, and cycling, they had to learn the language and something to get homesick. Was that hard for you?
No, I never got homesick, but it was such a fun experience. Girona is this kind of old city, and there's so many pro triathletes there. I mean, Jan Frodeno's there, and
the cyclists were there for back in the Lance Armstrong era.
Oh,
those guys all trained back there too. Wow. And so with XTERRA, how did you do in the pro ranks with XTERRA?
Not as well as I would have liked. I mean, I was young,
right,
inexperienced, but it gave me so many good lessons of bike handling, how to kind of handle that Olympic distance. And I feel like it's the perfect introduction for a young athlete.
Yes. So when I look at 2022, was that one of the years where you started going to the road?
Yes. Yeah, that's where I raced in Europe that year. And I just did a lot of racing, just trying to gain experience as much as I could.
Oh, yeah, actually, in 2021, you did 70.3 Indian Wells. Was that your first?
That was my first 70.3.
That's a little bit of the 27th there. I'm sure that was a little bit of an eye-opener for you.
Yeah, my first 70.3 and pro race, I was lining up next to Vincent Louis, and I was like, oh, my God, what am I doing here?
Had you spent much time on the TT bike at that point?
No.
Not at all, right?
I had 1 month. Yeah.
Oh, my God. But you rode a TT bike.
I did, yep.
And then I'm guessing you got off the TT bike, and your legs were like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Because you're going so much harder than you would be in training.
It was a wake-up call for sure.
Wow. But 2022, you got a 15th at Chattanooga, 70.3, and 14th in Boulder. And when I see people with DNFs, it shows me that they're trying new stuff. They're trying to figure things out, see if I can race back to back. All that. So you had a DNF in Oregon, a DNF in Cozumel. What did you learn from that season?
Oh, so much. I mean, I feel like becoming a pro takes 5 years. there's so much you have to learn. And I never really went through the amateur ranks.
Right. You went right in the pros because you went right
Yep.
from pro XTERRA to pro 70.3 guy.
Yeah, yeah. And so every race I was trying new training, and I've always kind of been self-coached and like trying new bike positions.
Right. So you don't have anybody like setting you up on the bike, working with you on your weight training, nutrition, all that's you.
Yep. Just studying other people and
Interesting.
trying to, experiment on myself.
Who do you study the most? Who do you learn the most from?
When I first started out, I was really, really inspired by Sam Long's YouTube channel.
Yes, yeah.
And that was actually part of the reason I signed up for that first XTERRA Beaver Creek.
Because that's where he started.
Yes, and he was doing a lot of YouTube videos then, and we lived like pretty close to each other, about like 40 minutes away. So I'd train on a similar
In Colorado.
Yeah.
When he's living in his parents' basement.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So like I would see him cycling while I was driving, and I was like,
He's my guy.
Yeah.
It's funny. We met him in 2019 at 70.3 Worlds Nice. Ryan Bolton had just started coaching him. And he was like, Bob, this kid is really raw, but he could be really good if I can keep him from doing 8 Ironmans a year, right? If I can temper it a little bit. And then it turned out, obviously, he's doing great. 2023, you had some really, your 6th at Challenge Walshy and 8th at Challenge, was it St. Polton? And then 10th at Lanzarote. So you're mixing and matching with challenge races, some Ironman 70.3s. But at this point, you're smart enough to stay away from the fulls.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And how do you look at that 2023 season? Because you were consistent, 10th, 9th, 6th, 8th. That was a good year.
Yep.
And it seemed like you must have stayed healthy.
Yes.
Which is all the main thing that matters.
Yeah. The big thing was like I learned not to overtrain. I mean, I overtrained at the beginning of the year because you hear stories of guys training, 30 hours a week, 35 hours a week, and you would see it in Girona, and you're like, that's what I have to do.
Right.
But it didn't work for me at all.
Everybody's a little different. Back in the day, a guy named Scott Molina was the best, right, in the 80s. And he was sort of new sports medicine, sports science a little bit. So he was training with Mark Allen and Scott Tinley, and he realized that you had to swim 40, 50,000 meters a week to be a top swimmer, and a top cyclist was 300 to 500 miles a week, and running was 80 to 100. So I'll just put all three together, and I'll train 40 hours a week. Yeah. And he became the best in the world, and Tinley was like, well, if he's the best in the world doing that, I got to do that. So they were sort of guinea pigs trying to figure it out, but it sounds like you guys are still doing the same thing. You're looking at Sam Long's doing what? I better do that. And how many times do you think they're like sort of, I'm going to put some ridiculous stuff out there just to get people to go train out of their minds?
All the time.
Right?
All the time.
So you can't trust that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the track around the Girona pool was like, this guy did what yesterday? And then...
We used to take it. We had a guy here locally named Tim Varley who was a great runner, but he would say, I ran 130 miles last week, and it became, okay, we're going to take that and anything he says and just take 30 off.
Yeah.
Right? 120, he did 90.
Yeah.
So 2023, and then you move into 2024, and we're talking a win at Valdivia, right? That 70.3 win. How cool was that for you?
That was so special. Yeah, it was the inaugural race.
Yep.
And the support on course was insane. Like, I've never heard so much cheering.
Wow.
And this is my first time in South America, and just it was truly incredible race.
When I look at that year where you did, how many fulls did you do? You did Placid, you did Texas, you did New Zealand, you at least 3. Maybe was there another one? 4?
Yeah.
4 Ironmans.
4 Ironmans.
4 Ironmans. So you jump in the pool with both feet.
Yep.
You're like, well, I'm going to do an Ironman. I might as well just do 4.
Yeah.
Plus, is there like 7 or 8 70.3s?
Yep.
So if you're an elite runner, you're not doing 5 Ironmans, 4 Ironmans, 4 marathons.
It's true.
And 8 or 10 half marathons at a high level. How did you stay healthy through that?
Well, actually, last year I lowered my volume a lot.
You lowered your training volume.
Training volume.
But you increased your racing volume.
Yep. And I was smarter about my training. I wasn't doing like the years before. I would do insane training days. Like I would do 8-hour rides, 9-hour rides, and like
you just loved it.
Yeah, just for the love of it. Like I would ride from Girona to Andorra, and it's like 15,000 feet of climbing and 140 miles. But it's like you basically just spent like a day you could have been racing.
Right.
Yeah,
And so
on
you're
that.
like, hey, why not race and get the energy from the crowd, energy from the
Yep.
other athletes?
Yep.
You know, it's so funny. When Cam Worth was learning this sport, he did 8 Ironmans in 1 year.
Oh my God.
Right? And I said, Cam, that's the silliest thing in the world. He goes, well, you know what? Realistically, I can get up tomorrow and do a 2.4 mile swim and 112 mile bike ride.
Yeah.
I could do that 5 days a week, and it wouldn't bother me in the least.
Yeah.
Because he has that type of volume in his body.
Yeah.
It sounds like you were that type of guy.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at pro cyclists, they race like 100 days. Yeah.
A ridiculous amount of days.
Yeah. And so, I mean, from a triathlete's perspective, racing 12, 13 times.
Yes.
If you're smart about your travel and racing, I feel like it's manageable.
Well, and then so in those fulls, do you feel like you're 5th at New Zealand, 18th at Texas, Placid, you were 10th there, Frankfurt, Frankfurt was DNF, but did you feel like the full is better for you, or the 70.3 is better for you?
Definitely the 70.3.
Yeah?
I still have a lot to figure out with the full.
Okay.
The full is like I mean, I raced New Zealand in March.
Yeah.
And
18th.
yeah, it was a long walk.
Well, I mean, I always look at the splits because that tells a story. You're 51-minute swim, so you're right there. 4:15 bike ride, New Zealand with the road surface. That's a good bike split. And then 3:45, obviously, it was you blew to the moon. But
Yeah.
what that also tells me is you weren't afraid to go for it on the bike.
Yeah.
That you went hard, and you're like, I got to find out where I stand. Because a lot of guys have no problem coming off the bike in 25th and then running their way to 10th over and over and over again. But to become the best, which is what you want to do, you've got to go for it on the bike.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be there. And if you can hold on or not, who knows? But you got to put yourself in a position to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to get podiums this year, and I mean, if I have to blow up trying to do it, I'll
What the
try.
hell?
Yeah,
Now, how old are you now?
I'm 23.
You're 23 years old. Oh my God, you're still a baby. 23 years old, and you start out your year with New Zealand, you come in here, and then what's next?
Then I'm gonna do St. George and Chattanooga. I think
Okay.
it's a back-to-back.
And are you still basing yourself in Europe? In Girona?
No, actually, I changed. I'm basing myself in Colorado. It's at like 8,000 feet.
Okay.
So I like the altitude training. I feel like it gives me a bit of an advantage.
Now, in Girona, are you at altitude?
No, it is sea level.
It is sea level. I
Yeah.
thought people were training there because it was altitude. Not, huh?
It is close to the mountains, though.
You can
So,
get to the mountains easy.
It's right next to the sea and the mountains.
Okay. So what other fulls are you thinking about this year?
Well, I'm thinking about Lake Placid and Frankfurt. I've already been there. I love the course.
Both courses.
Yep.
You like both courses.
Yeah.
And so you do still need to qualify for
I do.
Nice?
Yep.
Now, do you think that suits you? I mean, you're a tall guy. Is the climbing okay for you?
I think so. I mean,
You're light.
Yeah. I train in the mountains pretty much every day.
Yeah.
And I feel like climbing is a strong suit of mine.
Good for you. Colin, what a treat to get to meet you. I have a feeling we'll be chatting a lot more over the years because you're going to be not being afraid of the moment, not being afraid of the competition, and there's nothing tougher than XTERRA. You come from that background, I mean, you can handle anything. None of this stuff is... When you're climbing up the Flume Trail and you're like a 10, 11, 12,000 feet, yeah, you guys are crazy people.
Thank you.
Do you feel like that XTERRA stuff has helped you with the transformation to longer distance?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I would like to actually do an XTERRA race in the next few years.
Why not? Jump in.
Yeah, for sure.
I heard they might be bringing XTERRA Worlds back to the U.S.
Yes, I think it's going to be in New Mexico in 26.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
I might be there.
Good for you, man. Colin, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining.
Bob.
Colin Szuch has joined us, and this again, Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Oceanside. Hold on. We'll be right back.